Chapter 821. Terrain Features. Team Everlasting is doing pretty well, Chen Yahui pretended to blurt out, but he had actually thought long and carefully before attempting to start a conversation with this sentence. They are doing well, Dao Zhan nodded. In reality, after Team Everlasting had been eliminated from the Pro League and undergone several adjustments in players, their ability was far from being able to impress Excellent Era's boss, but since Team Everlasting was helping them deal with an annoying problem, they weren't as strict with their judgments. Seeing that Happy was at a disadvantage, they all praised Everlasting's performance. It's too bad, Chen Yahui noticed a critical part, drawing out his words and expressing his pity. Dao Zhan could no longer keep ignoring him with his attempts at making his presence known. He didn't call Chen Yahui here to watch the match, after all. Yi Chu seems to have been doing well in the heavenly domain recently, Dao Zhan distractedly asked as he watched the match. Even though this was an arbitrary question that he didn't seem to care for much, it revealed Dao Zhan's attitude to the situation. Yi Chu. He had only mentioned Yi Chu, not Team Happy. It was clear that the threat of Happy came entirely from Yi Chu. The only thing he was concerned about was Yi Chu's presence. Yi Chu's very existence represented everything. Well, it's like this, Chen Yahui took a moment to formulate a response. If it was just Yi Chu causing trouble, what he has managed to accomplish would be very impressive, but he utilized the power of 4 guilds along with his own. A total of 5 different guilds working together. So when they manage to steal a boss, they have to split their gains. If we look at it from that angle, their profits are just that. What do you mean, just that? Dao Zhan was a little annoyed at the use of such vague phrasing, but the way the match was going was satisfying, so he didn't get onto Chen Yahui's case, and just glanced at him, hinting that he wanted an explanation. Since they haven't become a strong competitor for very long, and weren't always very stable, there's no way to make an accurate estimate. If we talk about their current profits, then they get about what the top guilds get after splitting their spoils between all 5 parties, but we don't know how stable they'll be in the future, Chen Yahui hurried explained. Then what about our profits as of late? Dao Zhan asked. This was the question Chen Yahui was most afraid of because Excellent Dynasty's profit wasn't a pretty sight. If they were a small to mid-sized guild then it would make sense, but they were a guild with glorious history. How their team had been kicked out from the Pro League earlier this year, Excellent Era had no problems in continuing to function. If they could transfer over an all-star like Xiao Shiking when they were eliminated, then there shouldn't be any negative effects on their guild. Yet, it was just coincidentally at this time that Excellent Dynasty was struggling with fighting for bosses. The good thing was that they weren't the only guild struggling. Chen Yahui quickly relayed what had been happening during the summer holidays, how many pro players started interfering in the fight for bosses along with Yi Chu's active role. Dao Zhan was speechless after hearing this. He couldn't help but think of the very first few years of the Alliance. Back then, there was no such thing as a holiday for pro players. The Alliance wasn't 20 teams like it was now, and the competitive season was much shorter as well, making the holidays a lot longer, but once the holidays started, almost all the pro players would rush to the online game, fighting to gain materials and equipment for their teams. In the beginning, silver equipment was rare and everyone used orange equipment as their go-to choice for matches. Excellent Era's era of 3 consecutive championships was in part thanks to the foundations built through fighting for this equipment. The captain who had once spared no effort or expense for Excellent Era was now the most painful thorn in Dao Zhan's side. Thinking about this, Dao Zhan became distracted by his upsets. Chen Yahui seemed to say something, but he didn't hear. However, Kui Li went along with him, bringing over the documents that Chen Yahui had given him. Dao Zhan picked them up and quickly flipped through them, not seeming to have a care in the world. Let's watch the match first. I don't think this round will be easy for him. Him, not them. Team Happy. From the beginning Dao Zhan only took notice of that one person. Team Everlasting seems very familiar with this map, Kui Li added his opinion of the current topic. Using the banners to cover their positions and movements, though they're at different places, they have cohesion between them. With a range of AoE attacks, they can cover their opponent with firepower and successfully surround them. Actually, they could be a little more daring. They could even switch their cleric with their 6th member, adding another DPS. Happy's members are currently unable to focus due to the topographical features of the map. Chen Yahui entered the discussion. I think that's exactly what they're planning on doing. Kui Li looked towards the screen. With an omniscient view, they could see Team Everlasting's cleric moving under the cover the banners provided in the support zone, and the cleric was switched out for the sixth member, the elementalist. Like Chen Yahui had said, while having the upper hand, they could give up their healing and add a DPS to maximize the damage they would be able to deal to their opponents. 5 DP Sirs, all good with AoE attacks. Team Everlasting's firepower coverage was instantly top-notch. As the attacks flew, some would definitely hit the banners, triggering the terrain effects. This way, there would be more and more springs and fire pits on the map. After these areas were uncovered, they wouldn't become hidden again. This would make it easier to tell where you could and couldn't step. Team Happy was struggling under such a situation and had lost any semblance of teamwork. Each character was fighting to take cover for themselves. Yichu's Lord Grim also had to be responsible for healing, having to send over a heal from time to time, but an unspecialized healing was incomparable to the healing of a class that specialized in healing. The trade-off in MP for healing wasn't an affordable one for the unspecialized class. This cleric isn't very good, Chen Yahui concluded. He couldn't help but feel satisfied at how Yishu was being forced to make up for his teammates' shortcomings. He's healing wherever Yichu is. What use is he with such poor judgment? Chen Yahui said with a smile. Who would have thought that Dao Zan and Kui Li's expressions would change as soon as the words left his mouth? He healed wherever Yichu healed. Even the dumbest healer wouldn't need someone to guide him step by step. Pulling a player like that into the core position of a team wasn't possible unless Yichu's brain had short-circuited. So there was only one possibility, and that was that their actions were intentional. Yichu had planned for the healer to heal at his tempo. This cleric was, indeed, not the best, but he wasn't as bad as they originally thought. Were Yichu's actions the most effective way of supporting their team? Thinking of this, the three started to take notice. Cold hands healing. Positioning, healing targets, it was all following what Lord Grim did, but his choice of skill was, in the end, up to him. Maybe Yichu could give him tips, but the team chat was clear of Lord Grim's words. He could be verbally giving instructions. Their thoughts involuntarily drifted to this. There was no one keeping an eye on everyone in an online match. Sitting together, they could treat it just as they treated the online game, yelling out hints and discussing plans. The reason why they thought of this was because this cleric's healing method was flawless. The choice of skill, timing, it all maximized the healing output. All the input had been converted to effective healing, not missing or wasting anything. This cleric was very good at calculating, or rather, extremely careful and precise. This was the feeling that the three heads of the club had. This support could definitely draw out the match, but what was the point of prolonging it? Just to keep struggling futilely? None of the three believed that, because that person was in the arena. Maybe other grassroots would be unfamiliar with this map, but how was that possible for him? Though there were many, many maps in Glory and even the most experienced players couldn't know all of them like the back of their hands, it wasn't every map that had very unique characteristics. Through the propagation of terrain effects, with other adjustments made, Glory created so many maps. For veterans, what they were familiar with wasn't every map, but each setting and the features of the different terrains. With that, even to a map they had never seen before, it wouldn't feel completely foreign to them. They could always easily figure out the map's features and how to use them, or at least how to make sure they weren't disadvantaged. Had Yichu already found a way to deal with flame-flagged springs? Dao Zan, Kui Li, and Chen Yahui hoped this wasn't true, but somehow, in the depths of their hearts, they seemed to already believe that this was inevitable. Was it even possible for that person to lose so badly? Even if he died, that guy would definitely give his opponent a good scare before succumbing. Boom! Wu Chen's Dawn Gunner guided a howling rocket to its target, making another two areas collapse and creating a mushroom cloud. The mud that fell was quickly submerged by the bubbling spring water. In the other area, it was incinerated by tongues of flames, turning into lava. Causing another two marked areas to activate wasn't surprising for the fierce offense Team Everlasting was mounting. Wu Chen prepared to attack again, but upon taking a good look at his surroundings, he froze. The ground was full of holes and ditches, with so many water and fire pits uncovered. The terrain was much less even than it had been before, but how come it seemed a lot more open? Wu Chen was a real pro player with 3 years of experience in the Pro League. In regards to experience in high-end battles, he had much more than Heian. Something was wrong. The unease buried within Wu Chen suddenly erupted. Chapter 822. Help needed. Fire pits and geysers scattered the map. All of them lay bare in front of them. It didn't affect Team Everlasting in any way. They were adept at identifying the positions and ranges of the geysers by using the flag markers, but this was very helpful for Team Happy. They didn't need to waste time looking at flags. With the fire pits and geysers exposed, their locations were very obvious. They just had to avoid them. The terrain effects didn't completely disappear, but the players didn't need to spend as much effort paying attention to where they stepped. An experienced player like Wu Chen could see the importance of this tiny difference. As a result, he was able to instantly decipher his opponent's intentions. Team Happy was indeed surrounded, but their position was starting to transition from defense to offense. As Team Happy defended against their attacks, they were also using this opportunity to change the terrain, transforming it to something different from the original flame flag springs. Everyone, be careful, Wu Chen immediately warned in the team chat. Their team chat could not be seen by the other team, but it could be seen by the spectators. Many of the spectators were puzzled by his warning. Team Everlasting had a huge lead. They had even withdrawn their healer in exchange for another DPSER, boldly bombarding Team Happy with attacks. Why was he suddenly worried? Let alone the spectators, even Team Everlasting's own players were confused at Wu Chen's sudden warning. What is it? Someone asked. It was quite embarrassing for the team if even the team's own players didn't understand, but during the match, they couldn't care about all that. They needed to understand what Wu Chen meant. The map has changed, Wu Chen said. The spectators were still puzzled, but for Team Everlasting, even if they had no experience in the pro scene, they were still skilled players. After listening to Wu Chen's reminder, they focused on the issue and also discovered where the problem lied. Among the spectators, people like Dao Zhan, Kui Li, and Chen Yahui also came to a realization after hearing these words. They had never thought that Yi Chu would fall so easily. Now from the looks of it, he really did have a countermeasure in mind. It was exactly what they had expected. However, that didn't make any of them happy. It only annoyed them. Keep your distance. Who's closest to the support zone? Switch out for the cleric, Wu Chen ordered. The closest one is me, Heian replied gloomily. You too, Wu Chen ordered without any ambiguity. The sense of crisis in his heart was growing more and more intense. At this moment, it wasn't too important if the core player was on the field or not. Hurry up and switch in for the cleric. Heian understood how crucial this was. He wasn't someone who only cared about himself and not the team as a whole. Even though he wasn't happy, he still immediately rushed towards the support zone. A flag unfurled on his screen, and a player appeared in front of him. Heian saw that it was Steamed Bun Invasion. The only point that Team Everlasting had won came from this guy, some noob who got lost on the map. F***CK off. Heian was not in a good mood. Seeing Steamed Bun Invasion blocking his path, he threw an Earthwave Sword directly at him. Among all the wave swords, Earthwave Sword was the quickest. His sword slashed down and chunks of earth flew wildly towards Steamed Bun Invasion. But the two sides were rather far from each other. Earthwave Sword had some range, but hoping to hit the opponent in this way was looking down on him too much. Steamed Bun Invasion stepped to the side and dodged it. He raised his hands and threw sand at Go Forth. Heian had Go Forth turn his head slightly, ready to take this sand toss directly. If this skill didn't have a blind effect, just the damage alone was nothing to be afraid of. He turned his head and the sand hit him. He turned his head back, a brick. Heian was confused. He didn't even notice that Steamed Bun Invasion had hidden a brick in the sand. Heian was a bit glad. If he hadn't turned his head back quickly, just a little bit slower, and that brick would have hit the back of his head, not the front. According to the skill effects, a back attack would have a 100% chance of inducing a dizzy effect. But the next second, Heian discovered that he had rejoiced too fast. Because Go Forth still became dizzy. When a brick hits a target's head, there was a 50% chance to induce a dizzy effect. Now that it had triggered, whether or not it hit the back didn't matter. Steamed Bun Invasion seized this opportunity and rushed forward. Heian could see the duration of the dizzy effect. His hands hovered over his keyboard impatiently. Good. The dizzy effect usually lasted 3 seconds, but the spirit stat affected status effect durations. Spellblades had a 3.5 spirit growth, higher than the 2.5 spirit growth for brawlers. In addition to the difference in their equipment, the gap between their characters' spirit levels was even wider. The dizzy effect from Steam Bun's brick lasted less than 2 seconds on Go Forth. Steam Bun Invasion had just arrived in front of Go Forth when the dizzy wore off. Go Forth immediately used Wave Wheel Slasher. You thought you could make me dizzy for 3 seconds? The timing of this Wave Wheel Slasher was perfect. Steam Bun didn't have time to dodge it. Grab skills could not be blocked. After this successful attack, he taunted his opponent. Then how many seconds should it be? Steam Bun Invasion replied. Heian was startled. What type of response is that? I'm clearly taunting you. Did this guy think I was chatting with him? Heian didn't know how to answer Steam Bun's question. Unable to respond with words, he could only respond with actions. After Wave Wheel Slasher ended, Steam Bun Invasion fell. Go Forth followed up with a Fire Wave Sword. Flames engulfed Steam Bun Invasion. Fire Wave Sword also had a powerful knockback effect. Heian didn't forget his goal. He needed to hurry over to the support zone and switch with the cleric. Not bad. You're pretty good, Steam Bun Invasion, who had been sent flying by Fire Wave Sword, praised Heian mysteriously. His praise was stinging to the ear though. It sounded as if he were playing around with Heian. Heian valued the big picture. He ignored him. Go Forth hastily rushed towards his destination, but before he could make a few steps, he saw Steam Bun Invasion shout in chat, "Look at my brick." Heian immediately had Go Forth roll. When he looked at the chat again, Steam Bun Invasion laughed, "Ha ha ha, you've been tricked." Heian was furious. He couldn't bear it anymore and turned around to send over an Ice Wave Sword, but when his character turned around, he suddenly saw a hand reaching out in front of his eyes. The hand clutched Go Forth's throat, and Ice Wave Sword was interrupted. So quick? Heian was surprised. He thought Steam Bun Invasion should still be several units away from him. Who would have thought that the other side had already reached his back? Brawlers didn't have any sudden dashes or movement skills. When he thought about it again, the problem might have been with his Fire Wave Sword. Steam Bun Invasion hadn't been completely hit by Fire Wave Sword. When he was grabbed by Wave Wheel Slasher, he evaded or rolled away from Fire Wave Sword, which would reduce the knockback effect of the skill. Heian had been careless. In the end, he had looked down on Steam Bun Invasion. After Steam Bun lost the match because he got lost in the map, Heian equated him with an idiot, but now he was being lifted in the air like a little chicken by this idiot. Strangle. A persistent restriction skill. Because of the spirit disparity, Steam Bun Invasion couldn't restrict Go Forth for too long, but this strategy already let Heian become aware of his opponent's intentions. His opponent was stopping him from switching in with the cleric. Steam Bun Invasion might not be the only one who would come to delay him. The other side might have backup come to assist him. They're stopping me from advancing. Find someone else to switch with the cleric. Heian immediately sent this message in the team chat. He was secretly delighted when he typed out the message. He obviously didn't want to be switched out. Now, a perfectly good reason had showed up in front of him. He wasn't too worried about the other side blocking him. By attracting the attention of the other side, it would make it easier for his teammates to get the cleric in. Support him, Wu Chen immediately ordered. What support? I'll control them. You guys hurry up and switch with the cleric. Heian shouted. You can't control them. Heian suddenly became furious. Wu Chen's reply wasn't giving him face. What do you mean I can't? Are you saying I'm not skilled enough? Strangle didn't seal the target's attacks. After being strangled by Steam Bun Invasion, Heian had dealt Steam Bun Invasion quite some damage. When the strangle ended, he was just about to show his might and let Wu Chen witness how he could control his opponent. Suddenly, numerous skills slammed into his back. While the effects of strangle lasted, a chain of fierce strikes struck. Steam Bun Invasion also timed his attack perfectly. Go Forth was sent flying away too. Even rolling twice wasn't enough to completely neutralize all of the momentum. During these two rolls, the attacks never ceased. Heian watched as Go Forth's health slid down rapidly. At this moment, he was frightened stiff. When the two rolls ended, he looked up. F*CK, I really can't control them. Team Happy cared too much about him. All 5 characters had come running over to attack him. 5v1. He would be killed in the blink of an eye. Even if their team switched the cleric back in, they would have still be down a player. It would be very disadvantageous for them. The price for having him control the other team would be too great. Help! Heian was decisive and immediately called for assistance. Chapter 823. Backup Ploy. The players in the arena often were unable to understand the overall situation of the match. They had to rely on their own experience and judgment to grasp the bigger picture. That was what Wu Chen was trying to accomplish. Upon realizing that Team Happy had guided the control of the situation from their hands, he immediately thought to get back their healer. They wouldn't be as reckless anymore. Team Everlasting's biggest flaw at the moment was not having a healer. They understood that, and of course Happy would too. They could tell what classes were on the field by the attacks that flew towards them. So they might have predicted that Everlasting would try to switch a character out for their healer and use that to their advantage. So, after telling Heian to switch out with their healer, his Dawn Gunner sped towards where Heian's Go-Forth had been headed. When Heian reported that he had been attacked, Wu Chen's guess was confirmed, so he told the others to go and support. If their opponent had planned to use the fact that they would switch their healer in, they would mount a full offense, one that Heian couldn't be able to cope with alone. If only he went to help, then it wasn't certain to work, so he decided to have their team regroup and switch in a healer after beating the enemy back. Wu Chen's plans were clear. But when he saw Heian take the initiative to call for backup, he knew instantly that the problem might be worse than he had expected. He understood Heian pretty well. That guy thought highly of himself, feeling that he had the talent, but not been given the opportunity. Then he was uncovered by Everlasting and proved his ability, becoming more and more smug. With his personality, he wouldn't lower himself to ask for help unless he was really helpless. How many? Wu Chen hastily asked. 5. Heian didn't even have the time for punctuation. When Wu Chen received his message, he was stunned. The entire opposing team had gone after Heian. That was way beyond Wu Chen's expectations. They were attacking the enemy from all sides, so they weren't clueless about their positions. In the span of a few moments, all 5 of them managed to charge over, but he was making judgments based on his own awareness and experience. How could the situation be so unbelievable? Their opponents had been prepared. Wu Chen obtained this conclusion with his experience. The advantageous situation they had managed to create from being besieged was far more complex than Wu Chen had thought. It was no coincidence that Heian's Go-Forth was the closest to the support zone. This was something the opponent had planned as they turned their passive situation into an initiative. Their offense was aimed at that exact direction. This had been planned from the very start. Team Everlasting had fallen for their ploy by telling Heian's Go-Forth, who was closest to the support zone, to switch out for the cleric. As soon as Go-Forth rushed towards the support zone, Team Happy could swiftly position themselves to stop him. That was how things came to this point. Hold on. Wu Chen could only give Heian this sentence of encouragement. Other than that, he could only get everyone to go towards the support zone as quickly as possible. Luckily, Team Everlasting didn't position themselves too far from each other during the siege. Backup wouldn't arrive too late for anyone. Heian managed to endure until his teammates appeared. Steady now, don't be too hasty in attacking. We need to find a chance to switch our cleric in. Wu Chen was the third to arrive. The 2 who had arrived first were already fighting alongside Go-Forth, tangling with Happy. 3 versus 5, the situation could only be called dismal. As soon as Wu Chen's Dawn Gunner arrived, he sent out a few shots with a boom and instantly brought the 3 out of a terrible situation. The 4 characters reunited and immediately counterattacked. All their classes had AoE skills, so they held the advantage when fighting in teams. The 4 attacked together, and their attacks swept over the map, knocking back the 5 from Team Happy for the moment. Nice one. When he had been fighting alone, Heian had been a mess. Never mind counterattacking, he had been beaten without being able to even plant his own 2 feet. Now that his teammates were here, his opponents weren't able to beat them down with such ease anymore. Heian's morale surged, quickly erupting with a chain of attacks. Ice, fire, light. 3 waves of attacks swept out one after the other. This was the Spellblade's famous technique, 3 pulsing waves. The public chat channel was instantly filled with cheers for their ace by Team Everlasting's true fans. Even the spectating face-slappers felt excitement surging with this impressive 3 pulsing waves. Some couldn't hold it in any longer, mockingly calling for Happy to surrender as the technique swept out. It was true that Heian had been a mess before, but that was in a 5 versus 1 situation. No matter who it was in such a situation, the outcome would be the same. Now, 4 of Team Everlasting's members made a tide-turning counterattack. What was this? This was the difference in ability. With just 4 people, they could beat back all 5 of you. Just wait until their last member arrives. How will you deal with it then? Since the Team Command chat channels were made public to the audience could get the gist of the situation even if they didn't understand what was happening. Though Happy seemed to have a plan, it now seemed like they were completely unsuccessful. Why? Because Team Everlasting was stronger. Being an ex-pro team, they had more cohesive teamwork and tactics. The 4 fought side by side, attack after attack, and not long after, the 5th member of Team Everlasting arrived as well. Everlasting's true fans and the spectating face-slappers were all at a high, believing that this face-off was going to make their decisive victory. So the encouragements and mockery flew from them. It seemed like they could already start celebrating their victory. But as for the players on the field? Wu Chen's unease had yet to disperse. Maybe it was because he had always been a part of a weaker team and was used to defeat that developed an acute sense of danger in Wu Chen. The situation at hand started to seem fishy to him once more. Don't just focus on attacking, break through and get the cleric out. Heian exclaimed in the channel. Wu Chen nodded upon seeing it. Was that it? Wu Chen thought to himself, in this face-off, they may have gotten the upper hand, but if they didn't have a healer, then there was less room to make mistakes. A single opening could cause damage that they couldn't afford to take. Go Forth didn't have much health left. In a chaotic battle like this, he might get taken out by a wave of attacks. It was better to get their cleric here pronto. Charged through them. Heian wanted revenge for the mess that he had been put through before. Without a healer, the offensive 5 AOIDP Sirs were imposing and ferocious. Any opponent would have a hard time dealing with this with their healer unless they had the ability to instantly upset this offense. Otherwise, everyone's health would be falling simultaneously with the attacks from 5 AOI characters. A single healer would have a hard time keeping up. Even if they were skilled enough, the cost was high, so it would be very inefficient. Under Team Everlasting's bombardment, Team Happy retreated step by step and reached the support zone first after a little while. It was at this moment that Wu Chen's fluctuating sense of danger erupted with a warning. He suddenly realized what the problem was. Disperse. Wu Chen's abrupt command had both the audience and his own teammates puzzled. 2 of them even asked at the same time, why? It's a backup ploy. Quick, go, Wu Chen yelled. Backup ploy? Everyone who had a good grasp of knowledge of glory only had to hear this noun and look at the situation to realize what was happening. A real backup ploy couldn't be launched under the current circumstances, but if Team Everlasting didn't retreat and continue to exchange blows with Team Happy, then that would equal to helping Happy achieve a backup ploy. With even some of the audience understanding, Team Everlasting wouldn't be so oblivious, even if they didn't have much experience. Retreat, 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 quick. Heian started to yell in their chat as well. But it seemed like Team Happy had heard it, since Lord Grimm suddenly typed a sentence into the public chat, it's a little too late to retreat now, isn't it? Come on, let this senior open a door for you. Another sentence followed Lord Grimm's. It was Windward Formation, Team Happy's 6th player who had been called over through the support zone. Team Happy's cleric, Cold Hands, was switched out. This was a backup ploy. Using the support zone, the healer and 6th player would switch frequently. Once a rhythm was established, they could increase their firepower without sacrificing healing, like there were 6 people fighting at once. But since this scheme needed them to be within a support zone, there was a limit to how it could be used. If one side stood in the support zone and their opponents never approached, then there was no point. So in most maps, a backup ploy's effects were greatly limited. Only in a few maps where the support zone was placed in a special position, could you corner your opponent and use the backup ploy to crush them. The current map, Flame Flag Springs, didn't have this feature. If Team Everlasting had thought of this before, there wouldn't have been any harm in just letting Happy retreat, but since they wanted to get their cleric on the field so badly, they were even more impatient to get to the support zone than Team Happy and forgot the existence of such a ploy. By the time they remembered, Team Happy had already gotten the terrain advantage. They, on the other hand, had been too excited, had charged too fiercely, and were going to pay for it when they retreated. As Windward Formation spoke, he had already raised his staff. Wisps of dark energy swirled around him. Seeing this, Wu Chen was shocked, hastily making his dawn gunner run and shouting, "It's death's door, interrupt it." A laser rifle blasted out from the muzzle of Dawn Gunner's gun, but Lord Grimm, who was at Windward Formation's side, stepped over and opened up the Myriad Manifestations umbrella. Laser rifle had a knockback effect, but these effects would be reduced in the face of a shield. Seeing that the opponent had a shield covering them, Wu Chen quickly turned Dawn Gunner's gun towards the sky, preparing to release a stinger, but at that moment, there was a flash and the laser rifle he shot came streaking back. Chapter 824. Are they that strong? Reflect attack. Wu Chen choked on his surprise. He hadn't expected that at all. Laser rifle was a very fast attack and he wasn't prepared for it, instantly taking a hit from the reflected laser rifle. He definitely wouldn't be able to fire that stinger. The others had only tried to interrupt upon hearing Wu Chen's call, sending their attacks half a beat too slow onto Lord Grimm's open Myriad Manifestations umbrella. They were all preparing a second attack when their eyes caught a flash of blue light and an icy aura appeared. Ghostblade skill, Ice Soul Protection Boundary, otherwise known as Ice Boundary. Team Everlasting's members were all focused on the Death's Door. Windward Formation had been chanting. With this powerful skill, they couldn't escape their fate of being controlled. They hadn't expected Qiao Yifan to use 1-inch ash and successful sneak attack them. With the appearance of the ice boundary, the five were all frozen with the sounds of crackling ice. Now the result was set. Don't even think about escaping. If they didn't interrupt that technique, they were all ducks sitting at death's door. Team Everlasting's players paled as one. Lord Grimm's Myriad Manifestations umbrella shield was still open and in their way. If they were all frozen, how were they to interrupt it? The chant for death's door quickly came to an end and it was summoned in front of the five. At such a distance, they would have trouble escaping from death's door, even if they weren't frozen by the ice boundary. Fire wave formation, Wu Chen yelled anxiously into the chat. This was a hint everyone understood. Ice and fire were opposing elements, so if they could activate a fire element fire wave formation, the ice boundary would disappear quicker. Hien's go forth hadn't been completely frozen, only slowed, so he could still activate his skills. But they soon saw a helpless message from Hien. I'm dizzy. Go forth was dizzy again. Team Happy wasn't made up of just one or two players. As Qiao Yifan's 1-inch ash sent out an ice boundary, steamed bun invasion had also been silently approaching. He expertly threw a brick and it struck Go Forth perfectly in the back of his head. Everyone else had only been frozen, but poor Hien, not only was he slowed, but he was also dizzy thanks to a brick. The five trapped by the ice boundary were helpless in the face of death's door, and the dark energy from within quickly grabbed all them. Tang Ru's soft mist had long since charged over as well. All that aggression she had been holding in erupted, swinging her spear and giving the five tangled in dark energy a beating. Her combos were stacking rapidly, causing the golden light from her battle spirit to intensify. Her attacks became faster, her damage rose, and the chasers from her skills became larger, flying out and exploding. The mere sight of all the health being blasted away was enough to make anyone's heart ache. Lord Grimm, Windward Formation. These two characters charged over as well. With death's door holding them all in, these five had been tormented for quite a while. Wu Chen carefully considered the situation at hand, suddenly noticing that their opponents were rushing to deal damage, but this offense wasn't without clarity. For example, no one was attacking Go Forth anymore. That was because his health was low enough and they had no healing skills. They didn't need to continue their offense on him, since death's door still had a spectacular ending. Gradually, Team Everlasting's five characters were pulled into death's door by its death force, and then death's door suddenly imploded, as if trying to banish the five characters into a parallel world. Amongst the wildly pulsating death force, the five characters were thrown out by the blast, and Hien's Go Forth lost the remainder of his health in this blast, being the first character to fall in this battle, but the other four had their health chipped away at a steady rhythm by Team Happy's orderly attacks. Wu Chen's Dawn Gunner had the second lowest health. With death's door's explosion, he hadn't been taken out, but Lord Grimm's Sky Strike caught the falling Dawn Gunner and sent him towards Steam Bun Invasion, who jumped up and greeted him with a strangle. With a 50% reduced in physical defense, Dawn Gunner didn't last long under the following assault, becoming the second to get taken out. The remaining 3 had their health intentionally reduced. After Don Gunner had been dealt with, the Team Happy 5 turned heel together and instantly surrounded them, taking them out. Although Team Everlasting seemed to still have 3 people, their core class and reliable captain had also been wiped out. The battle was over. The encirclement of the remaining 3 was done in silence. No one talked in the match chat channels or in the audience public chat. Everyone watched on in silence, sitting in front of their computers. On this side was a team eliminated from the Pro League, on that side was a grassroots team originating from an internet cafe. 2 teams like this wouldn't be able to play any kind of high-end competition, and wouldn't gain any fame, but this team competition was definitely a textbook example. How to use the map to turn the tides when disadvantaged. That was what this match had shown. The players weren't the most skilled. Their equipment wasn't the best. Even the tactics that were used weren't flawless. If Team Everlasting had been a little more on guard and noticed the backup ploy faster, then they wouldn't have lost the upper hand and been wiped out in one counterattack. Unfortunately, there were no if only s in tactics. Plus, even if Team Everlasting had managed to guard against the backup ploy, that didn't mean Team Happy didn't have any other tricks up their sleeve. Reality was the only way to judge tactics. And from the results of this match, Team Happy's tactics were extremely successful. Team Happy is so strong. As Team Happy sent the last member of Team Everlasting out of the competition, the person who had been publicly supporting Team Happy before jumped out again. After flooding several pages of the chat with a F-whoosh, the person left again without waiting for a response. The spectating face-slappers were depressed. How is that all their efforts came back to slap them in face? What kind of team would it take to eliminate this Team Happy? Even a team that originated from the Pro League like Everlasting wasn't enough. Could they really be a team strong enough to go against Excellent Era? Thinking of this, more or less everyone shook their heads involuntarily. A team strong enough to go against Excellent Era? With that sort of equipment? Though they didn't know where these guys had gotten all of those pieces of silver equipment, just that wasn't enough to match up with the subs for Team Excellent Era. Suddenly, it became a trial to try and estimate Team Happy's strength. The cons of not having a full understanding of the team's ability was something the face-slappers had experienced over and over again. From when they thought this team was arrogant and personally tried to shoot them off their high horse, their actions came back to bite them again and again, because they always thought this should be enough to defeat Team Happy, right? So when they cheered and jeered about Happy losing, when they were ready to finish an essay on Happy's defeat, Happy always sent back a solid slap to face, punching the words from their mouths. It was painful. The face-slappers had been holding this grudge for so long and never got a chance to unleash their anger. The effort of holding it in was killing them. In comparison, Team Everlasting's fans were truly depressed. There was no record of turning things around after losing with a 1-8.5 lead while having the home advantage. Was Team Everlasting's journey this year coming to an end so soon? Next year? Would there even be a next year for them? They had nothing to do now, not even the Challenger League, so what could they use to keep themselves and the confidence their players and fans had afloat? There wasn't a lack of disappointed people tonight. Team Everlasting's fans were crushed and disappointed and their players were obviously no better. Such a large difference in points was enough to make them as lifeless as the dead. The match was over, and everyone sat in their chairs as if they had been paralyzed. No one spoke, and no one could squeeze out even the smallest of smiles. Though they knew it wasn't over, there was another round. This result made their morale plummet. Everyone stayed silent, no one moved and no one spoke until the door was pushed open. They all subconsciously turned to look, only to see the boss of Club Everlasting standing in the doorway sadly. Club Excellent Era. Fuck. When Team Everlasting's 5 characters had been caught by Death's Door, Dao Zan had already hurled the documents to the ground. Then as Team Happy wiped out Team Everlasting one by one, Dao Zan's mood had gone from sunny to cloudy, then those clouds darkened with rain, ready to storm at any time. Especially the end, seeing the public chat flooded with "Team Happy is so strong," it got to his nerves. Is Team Happy really that strong? Dao Zan spoke darkly. With Yi Chu, their strength is definitely above normal teams. Kui Li forced himself to speak. Then is Team Everlasting a normal team? Dao Zan asked, pointing at the screen. Chen Yahui looked at Kui Li with sympathy. This question wouldn't be easy to answer, but who would have thought Kui Lee would easily say, though Team Everlasting was eliminated the year before last, their ability has declined greatly since they were a part of the alliance. They sold their core character that year, and their captain and core players also left. A year later, they lost the Challengers League, which put them into a terrible situation. Now their team only consists of one player from the original team. All the others were found in a rush, and even their manager is a player. Their strength is far inferior to a real pro team. Chen Yahui was surprised by this logical analysis. This was truly a man who deserved to be manager. He had really done his homework. As Kui Lee finished his matter-of-fact speech, he was sweating internally. He hadn't really done much research on Team Everlasting. It was just that when he saw the tides turn, he did a quick search on his phone and formulated such a speech. Actually, this victory might be a good thing. When they really start believing in their own power is when they'll meet a dead end, Kui Lee added on. Chapter 825. City H Interview Station. Happy won. This match didn't receive an incredible amount of attention, but it didn't receive too little either. But in any case, it was the one match that the media did notice. After all, one side was currently the talk of the town, while the other side was a former pro team. The strength of both sides was noteworthy. No matter how famous Team Excellent Era was, just fighting against normal players wouldn't receive much attention. In the match between Team Happy and Team Everlasting, if Team Everlasting had won, the news reports might have simply written over it with a single stroke, but with Team Happy winning 8.5 to 1, that was certainly something worth writing about. Esports Home, the most reputable esports media platform. Glory was currently the most popular esport right now, so news on Glory would undoubtedly be their most important focus. 80% of their paper, which released twice a week, consisted of Glory-related news. Every city with a major Glory team had an esports news station. A few top teams even had their own special reporters that followed the teams around, establishing a good relationship between them to be the team's sole interviewer. City H was Team Excellent Era's home city. It could even be said that the news station located there was their oldest one. It was also where the first sole interviewer for a team came, but as Team Excellent Era gradually declined, the City H news station declined as well. It had only been busy last season because of Team Excellent Era's miraculously disgusting record, which had become such a good topic to report on. After being busy all of last season, City H's esports home news station discovered that it was as if they had overdosed. Because Team Excellent Era had actually been relegated. That was admittedly a huge topic, but after reporting it, even for a powerhouse like Team Excellent Era, a relegated team wouldn't receive much attention in a paper dedicated to the Pro League. City H's news station would become marginalized into an awkward spot. During the summer, when the various teams were trading players and equipment, the esports home also prepared for the new season. The first step was to adjust the number of employees at City H's news station. City H only had Team Excellent Era. After being relegated, it wasn't necessary for so many dedicated employees to be there. As a result, the employees of City H's news station were sent out to different areas. Didn't the Alliance have newly added teams too? In the end, only 2 people remained in City H's news station. If it wasn't because they were certain that Team Excellent Era would return to the Alliance and their purchase of Shao Shiken and Life Extinguisher, City H's news station might have even closed down. Leaving just 2 employees couldn't be considered much. They were just there to be prepared when the time came. The end of the Challenger League would have some topics to report about. With Team Excellent Era this year, there would be more to talk about than usual, but for the reporters, they had been with Team Excellent Era when they reigned over the Glory scene and were even familiar with the big names of the various teams. Now, they had suddenly dropped to such a position, where they needed to follow the Challenger League. They didn't feel any better than those relegated players. Cao Guangcheng was currently responsible for City H's esports home news station. He was also formerly the interviewer who followed Team Excellent Era. During Team Excellent Era's reign, he had undoubtedly been esports home's most famous reporter. Every year, he would have who knew how many lead stories on the front page. But in the blink of an eye, he had become a phoenix without feathers. With Team Excellent Era relegated, a famous reporter like him also fell to an awkward spot. He could also do work with other teams, but as the team's reporter, his network couldn't be ignored. All of Cao Guangcheng's relationships lay in Team Excellent era. If he ran to another team, he might not be able to outcompete his fellow reporters. Cao Guangcheng knew that many were already laughing at him behind his back. After all, there would be no lack of people who had been jealous of his fame for so many years. In the annual Summer Esports Home Conference, Cao Guangcheng had heard quite a few insidious greetings, but he could only hold back his anger. The current powerhouses already had their own established team reporters. If he switched teams, he would be sent to a new team. A team with the goal of not getting relegated could only have so much to talk about. When the time came, that team might even get relegated and he would once again fall with them. The cycle would continue and he might never be able to return to his former glory. Cao Guangcheng had a good understanding of his situation, so when Team Excellent era was relegated, he didn't hurry to find another path. After all, this was still Team Excellent era. Their relegation was considered a miracle. No one doubted that Team Excellent era would return to the pro scene next year. Moreover, even after being relegated, the team was able to trade for Shao Shikan and Life Extinguisher. Such a trade was rarely seen during the summer transfer window. Cao Guangcheng stayed, waiting to return to the alliance together with Team Excellent era. However, for this season, his days would be unfortunately leisurely. Speaking of which, when he was usually busy and had to stay up to finish his report, he would always curse his profession for being so exhausting. Now that he was suddenly idle, he was reminiscing about those busy days. He missed those days so much that he was even losing sleep. He had time to sleep, but he couldn't sleep. Cao Guangcheng felt a little depressed towards this lifestyle that he led. Saturday morning. Cao Guangcheng opened his eyes. He looked at the time and subconsciously began wondering if today was Team Excellent era's home or away match. After realizing what he was doing, he laughed bitterly. The third round of the Pro League was about to start. He still wasn't used to Team Excellent era not being in the alliance. He didn't need to follow their team. Helpless, Cao Guangcheng got up and left his bedroom to go to the bathroom. Their news station was really just them living in City H and being close by to interview the team on a moment's notice. The company would provide the reporters with an apartment. Their everyday life consisted of going over to interview the team and then writing a draft. They didn't need to a specific office location. If you insisted on it, then his bedroom and living room could be considered his workplace. When Cao Guangcheng went out of his bedroom, he passed by the living room and saw the other person, Chang Xian, staying in City H with him. He was currently on his laptop, busy typing. Compared to Cao Guangcheng requesting to stay, Chang Xian had been told to stay. This young man was a new graduate last year. After being hired by Esports Home, he was directly sent to City H's news station, a location with many Glory fans. Unfortunately, City H's Team Excellent era had been relegated and he was set aside as a new hire. This summer, headquarters didn't change their mind, and he stayed there with Cao Guangcheng. However, Chang Xian didn't have as many thoughts as Cao Guangcheng. He readily prepared for work with youthful energy. He looked as if he were going to write a long report on the Challenger League. To Cao Guangcheng, it was quite funny. Challenger League? What's there to write about? Cao Guangcheng, who had written news stories on 4 finals, had trouble lowering himself to following the Challenger League. Because of this, he was quite thankful for having a young guy like Chang Xian. He at least had a partner. Seeing Chang Xian busily working early in the morning, Cao Guangcheng couldn't help but be curious about what this fellow was writing so busily about. Didn't a round of the Challenger League just finish yesterday? Before he could get closer, Chang Xian saw him from the reflection of his monitor and hastily got up to give him a greeting. Morning, brother Cao. You're up. What are you up to? Cao Guangcheng had noticed that Chang Xian had quite a few web pages opened up as if he were organizing something. Oh. Last night in the Challenger League, Team Happy beat Team Everlasting, Chang Xian excitedly said. He hasn't seen the world yet. Cao Guangcheng muttered to himself, but calmly said, Really? Brother Cao, don't you think we should interview Happy? From what I've heard, Yi Chu should be a part of Team Happy, right? Chang Xian said. Cao Guangcheng smiled. This brother knows 100 times more than you about that. I obviously know that Yi Chu is in Team Happy, but you asking for an interview was a joke. Who was that? Yi Chu. In the entire glory scene, he was the media's number one enemy. He was the only public figure in the alliance with special privileges. No one in the media could reach him even if they wanted to. Cao Guangcheng was Team Excellent Era's reporter, but he had only been able to get an interview with the captain 3 times. 3 times. Cao Guangcheng had been with Team Excellent for 8 years, yet he had only been able to get a total of 3 interviews across those 8 years. Another team reporter might meet their team's captain more than that every week. Even more depressing was that those 3 interviews had been through F*King QQ. Yes, up until now, Cao Guangcheng had never even seen Yi Chu in person. It was something he had always felt depressed about. Thinking of this, Cao Guangcheng felt grief and indignation again. Seeing Chang Xian in high spirits, Cao Guangcheng felt like he needed to show this young guy how deep the waters were in this industry. Young people nowadays thought that interviewing Zhou Zikai was difficult. F*CK, have you guys ever followed the team 8 years, never seen the team's ace player in person, and only got 3 interviews with him on QQ? Little Chong, that's a good news point. Team Happy is a popular team right now. We can trail them. Let's go. I'm optimistic about your future, Cao Guangcheng said. Yay, Chang Xian immediately began packing up his equipment. After packing up, he turned his head to say, Brother Cao, you're not going? Oh, I won't go. You should try going by yourself. Train your ability to work independently. If Team Happy is actually able to go through the entire way, won't they be your resource? You have to grab onto them well, Cao Guangcheng said. Okay, then I'll be heading out, Brother Cao, Chang Xian called out. Be careful. I'll be waiting for your draft, Cao Guangcheng said. Okay, Chang Xian nodded his head enthusiastically.